What's going on, everybody? This video is about the effects of the lobbyists on the government in Washington, D.C. At first, I want to give a shout out to all the old school subscribers to the channel, and some of you that might be new. Thank you for coming to this channel, where you'll see some audio books on the channel. You'll see me commenting on some things, issues that come to mind every now and then. So thank you for coming, and please support the channel with the links below if you can. So we're going to talk about lobbying, right? We're in the election season, right? We just had the Trump situation go down, right? Some people are feeling super emotional, super patriotic, right? Which is emotional, but not to get into that situation, but I want to talk about this idea of red, blue, right? AKA divide and conquer, and constantly have people at odds with each other. And to me, this is just a F on the report card for the American people. We can't blame the powers that be, the government, secret societies, etc., etc. At the end of the day, right, the Creator has given you a mind, a brain to think, right, to examine information that is being presented. I don't care how real it looks. If it's AI, it's a deep fake. You've been given a brain. You've been given 5 senses, whereby you can judge and determine if something is real, if it's not real, if it should or not be accepted. And to accept this idea that one side is totally wrong, right? And one side is 100% correct in all things. To worship a man and say, this man is the greatest thing since sliced bread. The other man is just totally dismissed. The extremism of it all is extremely unnatural. And it's just something that overall, I know not all of us, but a majority of people, many people have fell for this deception, hook, line, and sinker, to the point where there is really no reasoning. There's no, everybody they're in their camps. Either you're on the Republican camp or you're in the Democratic camp. Each side thinks the other side is completely out of their mind. Now you tell me how that happened. That's a result of people being intellectually lazy, right? Trying to get answers, quick answers to complex problems. That comes from watching short TikTok videos. The Democratic Party platform in 90 seconds, or the RNC platform explained in 1 minute. Looking for that quick gratification, and that's how you wind up getting tricked. The issues are too complicated to be explained away that fast, and usually when somebody is explaining something to you really fast like that, it's usually an agenda behind it. But when you combine these things with the failure of the educational system, again, this is what you end up with. You end up with extremism, because extremism always comes out of ignorance. Extremism comes out of extreme ignorance. And again, I don't want to present a victim narrative. Oh, the educational system. Why? Because whose responsibility ultimately is it to educate the children? It's the parents, right? So you're not going to hear me blaming outward circumstances, right? You're not going to hear me blaming the music industry because your 5-year-old daughter is twerking in kindergarten. No. Parents. I tend to lean toward individual responsibility. I know there's great obstacles. Matter of fact, the Bible says that in the last days, the deception will be so great that even the very elect will be deceived if it were possible. So that's saying that there's some great deception. It's even hard to tell, right? You might look at a photo and the Photoshop, the technology, the AI technology is so great you can't tell if the person really looks like that. They have technology as far as the voiceovers. You can't even tell if somebody really says something. And it's just getting better and better and better. So if you're quick to believe, gullible, you'll be easily tricked. Right? You'll be easily tricked. But this video is about the so-called lobbying. And what I'm getting at is that this is a subject that usually only comes up during elections, but I don't believe it's talked about enough. Because one saying that I hear too is when you don't know, this is with a lot of things. When you don't know, follow the money. The money is going to give you the answers to the answers that you're looking for. And like I said, you can apply this principle to many different things, right? Sometimes I might be watching Dateline and they're trying to solve the mystery, right? Somebody's missing or for whatever reason. And then you find out often that the spouse has taken out 4 or 5 insurance policies worth, $4 or $5 million 2 weeks before their significant other went missing. That's what I mean when I say, follow the money. There's your suspect right there. Because it's extremely abnormal to take all those insurance policies out two weeks before the person comes up missing. That's one of those things that 99 out of 100 times you'll be right on that hunch. And so you can use that simple rule of thumb in a lot of different areas. So when I think of who is really in control, right? When we say we the people, is it really we the people, or is it we the various corporations, we the various billionaires and trillionaires that are donating to these parties and organizations, right? These super PACs, if you will. Because to be real blunt and simple, if you give somebody $500 million, I would think that they are somewhat beholden to your wishes. At least you would have to take care of them first. If you had three people donate to your cause, one guy gives you $500 million, the next guy gives you $10 million, and the last guy gives you $1. I think that your priorities are going to be in order of who donated the most. So let's first look at what a lobbyist is. I want to have a working definition for all of us to share. This is lobbyist.com. So a Washington, D.C. lobbyist is someone who understands how the federal government works. A multitude of legislative decisions are made every day, and their broader impacts are often unclear. So this is going to, paint it in a positive way. And I have no problem with that. We'll use this definition. A lobbyist provides a voice to make members of Congress and others in the government aware of the issues and concerns of a segment of American society. See, that sounds positive, right? It's just a segment. Doesn't name corporation or anything like that, right? It's segment of American society. How nice. Although the popular perception is that lobbyists only serve special interests, certain lobbyists advocate on behalf of many everyday interests. A lobbyist may represent a business, professional association, city or town, or nonprofit organization. Although many lobbying firms charge high fees for representation, Lobbyist is unique in that its reasonable rates allow wider access to lobbying services. So Lobbyist is a lobbying organization. And I want to just go down here now. So it says what they are. Lobbyists are usually former government officials, attorneys, or policy experts with significant experiences in the inner workings of the federal government. Okay. It says without the voice of a lobbyist, government officials and agencies wouldn't know that certain interests exist. It is important to have representation as laws and regulations change. And another part I want to read is that many lobbyists work in Washington, D.C., offices located on K Street in downtown Washington, D.C. So what does that tell me right there? That tells me about the access. That means these lobbyists are close by. So when they need to get the government's ear, they're able to get the ear of the government or the politician. They have access to these congressmen and senators that are right there in Washington, D.C. I'll read a little further down. While any company can seek the help of a lobbyist, some industries are well known for their lobbying. The most active industries include health products, insurance, oil and gas, electric, and technology companies. All right. And the well-known industries are just the tip of the iceberg. So now I want to go to this next website, which is OpenSecrets.org, which is a good website, and it's basically a follow the money website. It's funny because it sounds like a conspiracy site, OpenSecrets.org, but basically it's just a site where you can find out the amount of contributions to different parties, Republican, Democratic Party, lobbying information, and things of that nature. And just for one example, I want to go to the lobbying section, and we're just going to look at one firm in particular. I don't want to go in a big rabbit hole, but all I need is one example, and we can talk about it. So here in this particular section is the top spenders section. And top spenders are obviously those that are spending the most money on lobbying activities. And you can see right here, for instance, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, $69 million, 580,000, and that's just for the year of 2023. Right, National Association of Realtors. And so, what are these organizations doing? They're trying to get favorable legislation passed in their favor. Right, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, right, $27 million. And again, that's just for this last year. American Medical Association, Amazon, Business Roundtable, Meta. So we're going to click on Meta. That's Facebook, for those of you who don't know. Just so you can see how it works. Meta. So for the year 2023, Meta has spent $19,300,000 in 2023. If you click on they select a year, you can go to 2024, and it'll show you how much they spent so far in 2024, $7,640,000. So we'll go back to 2023 since it's a complete year, and you can see also the annual lobbying since 2009. Of course, as a company grew in stature and significance, you also see the lobbying going up. And you can see, so on average, they spend almost $20 million a year since 2020. And in 2024, it's incomplete as the year is not over, but they already spent almost $8 million. All right. And so you have to ask yourself, what a company like this, right, internet company, social media company, would be so concerned about lobbying or having favorable legislation passed for. These are the issues that go unspoken about while we're caught up in what's going on with Puff Daddy, R. Kelly, whatever other distractions going on, these are the type of things that are happening and bills getting signed and passed that we have no idea really what's going on behind the scenes. And these are the organizations that are really, for lack of a better term, basically running the country. Okay, because what happens is that once the laws get passed, these are the highways and byways, so to speak, of how we have to operate in this country. So if a multinational corporation can basically manipulate the government into giving it favorable legislation, say for instance, even if it's something whereby they have access to, they can sell your information, for example. Say if it's like legislation like that where they're allowed to actually keep and sell your information, to whoever they want once you sign up, or something like for example, they can any picture that you post on Facebook or Instagram, for example, they have the authority. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm just saying, for example, say they lobby for legislation that any kind of photo that you put, they can use it for anything they want, like ads or again, sell the information. You have to think of the long-term effects of things like that, right? Not only can they profit off your images, right? Use your images in random like family pics or posters and things like that, right? Look at the more sinister effects of, for example, having your image used in like national databases, for example, a law enforcement database, things like that. All right, so that your picture is already already there. Or they have tons of photos that they could just choose from. They could just go to Meta, type in whatever, and then all your stuff comes up immediately because you have willingly giving your information, and then they've taken information really without your knowledge and have passed it on. All right, so since we looked at Meta spending, right, in just 1 year, again, avoiding a rabbit hole, we'll just look at one example of what Meta is lobbying for, and spending so much money to to protect their organization. So here we can see, this is from the Verge.com, and this article was in April of 2024. So it says Meta had its biggest lobbying quarter ever. Company outspent its peers as the government considers proposals that would impact the company on topics like kids online safety, and content moderation. So basically, they're trying to stay ahead of the curve. They know that listen, anytime something happens, there's a lot of trafficking on the internet. Everybody knows these type of things, right? And so it's always outcry from the public. There needs to be more security, this and that. And any type of legislation that is passed is going to affect the company's profit. Remember, follow the money. These companies don't necessarily care about your children or safety online or any of that stuff. They just want you to engage, and they just want you to stay on their platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram. They just want you to stay on there and keep it moving. So they don't care if Instagram models on there, half naked, or certain, again, don't want to get banned by YouTube. Certain services are being sold over the platform. They don't care about that. They just want to make sure that you just stay engaged and you keep going to the platforms, and that's really their bottom line, is the money. So the fact that they're willing to spend $7.6 million in a quarter engaging the U.S. government lets you know all you need to know, that it's serious to affect certain legislation, serious business. So Meta had its biggest lobbying quarter. First few months of 2024, they spent $7.6 million. Okay, according to its public lobbying filing. Now, it says a 64% jump from its spending in the fourth quarter of 2023 represents more than a third of what Meta spent on the lobbying the entirety of last year. The blockbuster quarter underscores just how much spending legislation is aimed at Meta and its peers on everything from data privacy, kids' online safety, content moderation. Still, Meta says the sharp uptick is largely due to compensation for its lobbying team. The increase in Meta's lobbying expenditures is principally due to operating expenses, including changes to the timing of the biannual compensation structure and an elevated stock price. Meta spokesperson Daniel Roberts said in a statement to The Verge. So, of course, you had to take that with a grain of salt. You know, it's probably a lot of BS because you got to remember he's a spokesman. So, they don't want to make it sound like they're spending all this money to influence your government. They wanted to tell you, oh, it's just operating expenses. And then they give you this big, big phrase, change the timing of the biannual compensation structure and elevated stock price. So, you say, oh, okay. They only spent $100,000 on lobbying. The rest was on operating expenses, right? That's the big catch-all too. You read a lot of these financial statements, operating expenses. Yeah, operating expenses, like having the lobbyists go and talk to all of these government officials to get the legislation stopped. Meta spending in the last quarter is an outlier among its big tech peers. It's more than double the spend of Apple, Google, and Microsoft in the first quarter, which all spent closer to 2 or 3 million. Amazon spent the second most behind Meta at 4.4 million. Now here's the meat and potatoes of it. The most significant piece of tech legislation that passed recently was a bill that could ban TikTok unless its China-based parent company ByteDance divested within a year. A law that Meta stands to directly benefit from if one of its closest competitors is forced to exit the U.S. market. All right, so that's a good point they brought up. So, again, if we have to just understand it's about the money. So Meta would love for Facebook would love for TikTok to be banned in the United States because then they would get more of the market share. So therefore, their lobbying efforts will go toward, hey, pass this legislation, right? Under the curtain of under the guise, we need to protect the children, right? You see how the deception is. Again, if you just take your time and think about it, it's not rocket science. It's common sense. Of course, they don't care about the children, but it's just like listen, we want to get rid of this competitor, so let's support this legislation under the guise we just want to protect the children. Because what happens when you mention children, all the parents are gonna get on board, right? Who's not gonna want to protect children? Everybody's gonna get on board. All the parents want to get on board. That's right, we need to protect our children. Meanwhile, Zuckerberg and company is laughing like, yeah, we about to get paid. We get these guys banned, and we get paid. So going on, it says according to its Q1 or quarter one disclosure, Meta lobbied on what? On kids' safety bills. Again, do they care about your kids? Come on, man, wake up. Including the Kids Online Safety Act, Children and Teens Online Privacy Protection Act, and Protecting Kids on Social Media Act, which would impose age verification for social media. It also engaged on the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act reauthorization and bills related to Tax Liability Shield, known as Section 230. Some other topics included international data flows, encryption, subsea cables, taxes, and political ads. So, again, those are all rabbit holes that I challenge any one of you guys to go down. I'm not gonna do it here, but these are definitely rabbit holes because I don't even know what the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act reauthorization bill is. Right, that's something I will have to look up. And again, that This video could, easily be 6 hours getting into all of this stuff. And again, I'm addressing only one company as an example. I'm just looking at Facebook. I showed you the list, and those were the top spenders, right? I could go look at Amazon or any of these other companies, and so this is basically what's going on in our government. And this doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. That's the whole gimmick about that, is having the people divided and you arguing all this stuff, and then they have you arguing over stupid stuff too. They arguing over, what's a man, what's a woman, all this stuff. You fighting over it's like cats fighting over a bowl of yarn. They had the society going crazy, like fighting each other over these topics. Meanwhile, these type of things are happening. The corporations getting have a extremely strong chokehold over the government, over the political process. That's the biggest hoax of it all. Is you actually think that you're affecting some type of change, or you have some type of choice in really what's going on, where what's really happening is these big corporations and entities are really the ones that are determining whether certain things are going to get passed. You're basically hoping that these companies are moral enough that they'll make the right decision. But we know that human nature doesn't work like that. Human nature is always going to choose, I'm talking about collective human nature, because you're always going to have the righteous among the unrighteous, right? Just like again, going into a Bible reference like days of Noah, right? It said Noah was the righteous person. Everybody else was wicked, right? That's the story. You always have those scenarios where you have the majority are wicked, and you have like a few righteous people. And it's the same today. These are just principles that you could just magnify and move throughout time, right? You always have the majority would be wicked, and then you have a few people that try to bring light and reason, but the wicked always going to prevail for a certain amount of time, and that's usually how it goes. So here again, when you see a lot of people talking about this stuff, we need to protect their children stuff, you gotta look beyond that. Always look for the money. Always look at so you see kids online act. Why would they be supporting all this stuff? They really want kid. They really care about your kids. They really care if your kid gets trafficked somewhere or not, or something, or bullied online. Do they really care? Listen, there might be somebody that cares, like, hey, I want what that happen. Their close friend or relative or something like that, right? But as far as the corporation, the entity, do they really care? No. They just want to get that competition. They want to get the competition removed. So, therefore, they support, right? But it shows you how much power they have, because the money talks. Again, if I could give Senator such and such, a nice vacation, send his family on a cruise, right? Give him free tickets to all this stuff. Of course, it's undocumented, but I can do all of this stuff. Take care of him. Hey, man, just support this legislation. We trying to get TikTok out of here, right? Hey, they're Chinese anyway, right? We it's America. Let's support our own, right? That is how the country is really ran. And like I said, this idea is reprehensible to me. Like, people fighting over this blue, red, conservative, Democrat, this and that, because the reality of it is most people fall in the center somewhere. If you have a conversation with your coworker, neighbor, family members, most people, they'll be liberal on certain ideas, but then they might be conservative on certain ideas. I know people who are fiscally conservative, right? They're with the whole less government, less taxes, etc., right? But pro-military, all stuff like that, right? They're fiscally conservative, but they're socially liberal. And what do I mean by that? That means they don't really care, like who marries who, this and that, or certain things, in social issues. And then I know people that are opposite. They're socially conservative, right? But fiscally, they want to have all these programs and make sure welfare and the homeless. They don't have a program for this, program for that, and they don't mind paying extra taxes. Most people have a combination of beliefs. It's not like but the way the media presents it is like one side is just totally out of their mind, the other side is correct. Depending on what station you turn to. You turn to CNN, it's like Trump is gonna bring slavery back if he gets elected. Right? If you go to Fox News, the Democrats are out of their mind. They're just all crazy and loony, right? Those are the type of words they like to use, right? Oh, well, these DEI hires and all stuff like that. They're just out of their mind. And so people watching that don't have strong mental fortitude, they get brainwashed with the propaganda, and then they start talking like that. You go on your Facebook right now and look at a political post, and you'll see people, oh, these stupid liberals, these libtards, and all this nonsense. Really, the joke's on you. The joke is really on you. You actually think that a candidate, right, that's a billionaire, millions of dollars, right, that he's going to be able, right, to avoid the influence of all of these corporations that donate millions and millions of dollars, or that he should. No, the people that pay for these ads, people that are paying for the transportation, there's too many wealthy hands in the pot. That's stirring the pot. Those people have to be taken care of first. Then you get to the people. After you've taken care of all the corporate interests, all the billionaires that donated, all those people, then you get to the people. Then you get to the people if there's anything left at the end. It's the same thing, and it doesn't matter who the president is. It's the same thing. Same thing happened with Obama. Like, Obama had a lot of donors, like Wall Street, backed him. So he had to make sure that they were straight, and to make sure they had favorable legislation, right? People are ignorant, thinking he was going to come just because he was black. Somehow he was going to come in. He was going to restore the hood to glory or something like that. Like, he was going to come in, everybody in the projects living rent free or something for like something special was gonna happen. Nothing special happened. Just like with Biden, nothing special happened. It's the same story. So stop being tricked and really understand like what's really going on here. All right, so here's another one. We're about to close this one down. I'm gonna do some more videos. I'm actually interested in this. Actually, I'm gonna look at some more companies, but I'm gonna break it down so it's not like big long videos. So I'll probably look at like Amazon. I'll look at these different companies and look at some of these lobbying efforts that they put in. But following up, and like I said, just a couple of minutes more, we see here, this one was April 23rd, 2024. Meta shatters lobbying record. Again, as House passes TikTok ban. Right? So, new disclosure reveals Instagram owner Meta spent more than ever on lobbying Congress. And again, we just saw this in the other article. And the White House, as legislation to potentially ban its competitor was drawn up and passed. Right, and you see Mark Zuckerberg's face, right, testifying at the Senate Judiciary Committee, right, and how again, you got to think like how important this is to this company to get its competitor, taken out, right, using it's like you can't beat them, right, so you want to use the government to take care of it. Right, so the CEO is actually at the judiciary hearing. So it says Meta Platforms and its subsidiaries spent a record high $7.6 million lobbying the federal government in the first quarter. that could ban Instagram's chief competitor TikTok. And remember, this is this year. This is April, so these things take a while. So this is April of this year. So these things are still going on. Meta's recent disclosure does not mention the TikTok ban issue directly. Of course, it's not gonna sound like a hater, but it says that the company lobbied Congress and the White House on quote unquote homeland security topics. Again, do they care about homeland security? Do they really care? Discussions regarding cybersecurity, data security encryption, platform integrity, election integrity, content policy, terrorism, right? Issues related to voter suppression, interface, political ads, and misinformation policies. The language in Meta's disclosure echoes many of the talking points that have been used against TikTok and its Chinese owner ByteDance, including claims that China could use the app to collect Americans' private data and influence U.S. politics. So, again, these are things that some of us might have heard before. And it's interesting that they're saying that China could use the app influence U.S. politics, right? Without saying at the same time, and conversely, that Facebook also can influence, and Instagram can, and any social media platform for that matter, X, what have you, can influence and does influence politics. So finally, this is just an example of how the lobbying, right, affects and distorts, right, the actual choices of the people when it comes to this kind of stuff. So we can see here, right, from this article from the Record. It says state privacy laws have been crippled by big tech. New report says. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but the basic gist of it is that just the power of these companies is so great that even though the people, complain to their congressman or senator that they want stricter laws when it comes to their information and how their private information and data is handled, the lobbying is just too strong, and the money is gonna talk at the end, right? The people that are providing the most money, they're gonna get their way in the end. So, for example, down here in the fourth paragraph, it says weak industry-friendly laws. Key is weak industry-friendly laws allow companies to continue collecting data about consumers without meaningful limits. The report states consumers are granted rights that are difficult to exercise and cannot hold companies that violate their rights accountable in court. So basically, yes, on paper, you have all of these rights, right? Don't take my information without my authority, this and that. But in the end, it's really something that's not enforceable. All right. And that is because the report cited a 2022 markup investigation showing that in the 31 states considering privacy bills in 2021 and 2022, 445 active lobbyists and firms representing Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Google, Apple, so they all got together, and industry front groups fought to shape the legislation. So common sense just tells you that if the tech companies are shaping the legislation, who is the legislation gonna favor? It's gonna favor them, so that they can what? They can make more money. So all I'm gonna say is, before you start fighting with somebody over, oh, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, who is running the country? And actually, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna get into some lobbying on social issues probably in the next video. I'm gonna look into that a little bit more, and we're gonna get into that next time. But again, this video was just like, I mean, scratching the surface. Scratching the surface. This is a rabbit hole right here. I mean, you can go for hours just looking on this one company alone, not the tech industry. I mean, I just showed you like a couple of articles just about Facebook's lobbying presence. But again, it's like one of those where there's smoke, where there's fire. And again, if you want to know like who's really running things, look at follow the money, people. So that's it. I hope you like this video. I know I talk a lot sometimes. I'm freestyling. I'm not writing anything down. I'm just like kind of reading, thinking, and just kind of having a casual talk with you guys out there, as if like you guys were right in front of me, like if we were talking at work or something like that. Please support the channel. Hit the thumbs up. The links are below if you want to donate, like Cash App, Venmo, all of that stuff. But if you can't do anything, just hit the thumbs up. And of course, get in the comments too. I like to hear what you guys have to think, because I know that sometimes I might miss a point or something, and sometimes you guys give me content by your comments, because I'll look and read something and I'll be like, wow, that's a great point. I never even thought of that. So like I said, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, and respectfully, of course, because I'm humble enough to accept the other opinions. I don't claim to have all the answers and information. It's just that I am a free thinker. Like, I'm not taking anything just on surface. I'm examining everything. I'm not just taking something. Oh, it's on TV. Oh, such as oh, he's black, so he must be telling the truth. No. One more thing before I go is, some of you might notice I've been started the reading of the Project 2025 book written by the Heritage Foundation. And as with all my books that I've written in the past, that I've read in the past for this channel, there are many of those out there who think that since I might read a book for the channel, that somehow I might support the views or espouse the views in the book, whether it's George Jackson, Solar Dad Brother, the books I've written by Sheikh, read by Sheikh Anta Diop. Just because I read a book doesn't mean that I espouse all the views. Some books I agree with, some of them I disagree with, but I found them interesting enough to read, and I feel that they're important works to share. Soul on Ice is another by Eldridge Cleaver, is another book I feel is a fantastic book. Okay, so the Project 2025 book is another one that I found it necessary to start reading, that because there's so much propaganda about what it says, and I know that many people are not reading it. They're just feeding into the fear mongering without reading it themselves, without looking at it themselves, and they just immediately, oh my God, Project 2025 must be stopped, without reading one sentence of it. That's how bad the brainwashing is in this country. Right? So I say, you know what? I'm gonna just read it and put it out there, and then make a proper judgment. And I know a lot of people don't have time to read, so I figure if I put it in an audio form, people can listen to it in their car, on the way to work, away from work. Just take their time, and then have the information and judge for themselves. Stop listening to these short TikTok videos trying to explain 922 pages in 30 seconds. It's impossible. It's ridiculous. That means you're being hit with an agenda really fast. Oh yeah, let me explain this 1,000-page document to you in a minute, and give you a fear monger and put a fear in you, in your heart and mind. Right? Just because they want you to vote for a certain candidate, they're gonna lie to you, because a lot of people believe the ends justify the means. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give them information, but as long as they're gonna vote Democrat at the end. I don't believe in that. I believe here's the document. see for yourself, and then you make your own judgment based on your beliefs and your understanding of the facts that you just read. So that's all I have to say about that. Again, please support this video and let me know what you think. And I will see you on the next video.